Welcome to the Late Invoices show, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very interesting topic. Do you want to hit us off, Cameron? Tell them what we're talking about today.
We're talking about giving credit on people's work, whether you post it, whether it's just something you share with a mate. Give credit.
Yeah, we're just talking about credit. And it's a very interesting topic, I feel like, in our industry. But before we get into it, how are you, Cameron?
I'm good, man.
How's your week going? It's Monday, and it feels like a Monday, man. Jesus Christ, I'm tired.
I feel fine.
No, you said you felt a bit sluggish as well.
No, I was up this morning cycling for an hour, hit the gym at 9 a.m.
Right, guys.
In the office
so
Cameron's
gone and bought this like monstrosity of a bike. And when I say monstrosity of a bike, I mean like the beefiest, biggest electric bike you have ever seen. It might as well be classed as like a motorbike. So it's fully electric. And Cameron's like, yeah, I'm getting so much exercises at the moment. All this cycling I'm doing. I'm like, mate, it's an electric bike.
Mate,
you're literally not even breaking a sweat.
If I'm going faster than what the electric assist is on, then I'm going to still have to pedal. And mate, I get some cramps in my legs every now and again.
Oh, you are so unfit.
Do you ever go with it?
What do you mean? I cycle all the time.
Yeah, no, but
on a non-electric bike.
Well, but if you're cycling for an hour, there's going to be times where you are like...
Yeah, I know, but it's the way you're making out like it's loads of exercise when it's not.
No, it's loads of exercise. I don't cycle.
I know
so it's
you
more
don't
cycling than I've ever done ever.
Yeah,
so,
well, okay,
right?
I get your point.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you're good then. You're feeling
mate,
good.
I'm decent, yeah.
You're on top of the world for a Monday morning.
Yeah. And also, I think a few podcasts ago, I said I had my schedule sorted out.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, a week later, that kind of fell off, and then back on it again.
You're back on it again this week.
You just need to remember to schedule at the end of every week. If you miss it, then you go into the next week without a schedule, basically.
Have you got a busy week this week, shoots-wise? Anything coming up?
There's a shoot on Thursday. That's it, basically.
Fair. And editing in between.
Yeah, we just finished a few shoots, so.
Yeah, we were actually on a shoot together.
We were.
We were on Thursday? Friday? Thursday.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I've been on set with you and the boys for quite a while.
Yeah.
Like this year, actually, I would say. Yeah, definitely. First time this year.
Yeah.
But it was good fun. It was good to bring the team back together.
Yeah. Got to sauna.
The A team. Well. Yeah, me and Cameron got in the sauna. We had like a 2-hour break, so me and Cameron went for a cheeky sauna.
Yeah.
In between the session, and Cameron had never been in a sauna before.
Well, not for like 10 years. So
no, you said ever.
No, I have when I was only when you're on holiday and there's a sauna where the swimming pool is, and I was young.
Right. Okay.
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed in a sauna when you're that age as well. So
probably not. But it was Cameron's first. I'm classing it as. I've been telling everyone it was your first sauna.
It's been so long that it might as well be my first.
But it was
sauna.
Hilarious.
Yeah. First of all, don't wear a necklace when you go into the sauna. Yeah. Matt will go, "Oh, you'll be fine." Yeah. No need to take it off. Yes, there was. Every time you moved, like even a little bit, your necklace would burn you.
Yeah, no, it was funny. And Cameron doesn't even know how to wrap a towel around his waist, so that was the funniest part. It was like taking like a child into like something they'd never done before, and they were like, "How do you do this? How do you do that?" I thought most humans on planet Earth know how to wrap a towel around their waist.
Well, you're not exactly.
What do you do when you get out of the shower?
You wrap a towel around you, but you don't.
Hold it.
But you don't have the towel on long enough to the point where you need to do... Because you went, well, don't you need your hands free to do other things? And I'm like, no, because when I get out of the shower and I've dried myself and I wrap a towel around me, what am I going to go and do?
So are you walking from the shower to your room holding the towel? You must be.
Yes. Well, I've got an ensuite, so I don't even need to wear it. I don't need to hold the towel.
But you've never wrapped a towel around your waist fully to the point where you've been able to walk around with it for 5-10 minutes and do other things. That's mind-boggling. That blows my mind.
Well, I just don't need a towel eventually, and I'm like, oh.
Anyway, that's a major side note.
Yeah,
I just thought it was funny. It was a funny
so it was a good. I've been
it was a good shoot.
Yeah.
So I started editing that stuff this morning actually, and I've got to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
So
is it looking good? Of course it is.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Photoshop was actually playing up, so that was kind of getting on my nerves a bit.
Yeah, but what have you done? What have you done to get around the slow photo?
I have ordered a new MacBook. I'm so happy.
So first the camera, now on MacBook.
Oh mate,
people are going to start asking questions, mate.
My accountant's calling me. He's like, "What is going on?" No, my bank account's taken quite a hit, but these are all investments. And it was funny because I was going back and forth with you. So I was at Yaz's at the weekend. I was like, right, I'm ordering this MacBook, and I was going back and forth, like, do I get the Air with the M2 chip, fully spec'd? And then decided against that. And then I was like, okay, let's get the Pro. And then I was going back and forth, do I want to spend $2,000, $3,000? Like, I didn't know where I wanted to be. And it was kind of like, well, if you're going to spend $2,500, you might as well spend $3,000 because let's face it, like, you want this thing to last you for 4 years. You might as well up the RAM and up the SSD space in order for it to last longer. Because, like, you don't want to be upgrading after 2 years, really.
Yeah.
Like, the idea is I want this Mac to last me. The one I've got at the moment has lasted me 4 years, so I'd like the same thing. So yeah, spec'd out a Mac, got 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD. I got the Pro, the M2 chip Max.
Yeah, that was really confusing to me because you got the M2 Pro, but you got the M2 Max inside the Pro machine instead of the actual M2 Max.
Yeah,
so
I upgraded the chip.
It's the same thing.
And it was
I didn't even know that was a thing.
No,
though.
and it was only 180 quid difference to put the M2 Max chip in.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I don't understand
because I think most people just click on the higher spec one, but I clicked on the middle option and then added things on from the middle option. Yeah. And like I say...
So you got M2 Pro stuff with an M2 Max chip.
Yeah. Essentially. Which was pretty good.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah. And 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD. So hopefully now Photoshop and Lightroom don't keep lagging out on me.
Oh, yeah, mate.
Oh.
Yeah, like from this point on, it's the diminishing returns.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever need to upgrade your laptop for the next 10 years.
Big statement.
Seriously,
big statement. I hope you're right. But it was like,
I mean, especially for your work as well. I mean, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, fair. But it was the point. It was like, oh, what's the point of spending like $2,500? You might as well spend $3,500 and get it to the spec you want it, so it's going to last you an extra year or two. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the extra money is going to be irrelevant in a year's time. You might go, man, I should have spent that extra grand. I just got that thing because now a year later, like $1,000 in the grand scheme of things is nothing.
Yeah,
$1,000 in the grand scheme of things is nothing.
Nice play. But yeah, so I've got that. It's annoying though, and I presume this is because I've spec'd it. I can't pick it up until Friday, the 11th of August.
Yeah, that'll be why.
So I'm waiting. But I managed to get a little student discount thing on.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, I got a £130 voucher, so I will be purchasing an Apple Watch as well, and I am looking forward to. You rave on about your Apple Watch.
You've never had an Apple Watch?
I've never had an Apple Watch.
Mate.
I want it more for like the workout stuff, so like just tracking workouts, heart rate zones when I'm running and whatnot.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people may have an opinion about an Apple Watch and be like, I used to have one, didn't use it, never bought one again. It's like you just didn't use it. You wasn't someone who used it to its potential.
Yeah, I think I've heard mixed things about Apple Watch.
I remember I got an Apple Watch and someone told me, I had the first one and it just used to get in the way. I used to accidentally bang it off walls and all sorts of stuff, and I never really used it. And then I got mine and it was the greatest thing I ever bought. Yeah. So it depends just in people's use
like
case.
it for your notifications, don't you? And like
yeah. Well, I run my life off a schedule.
Yeah.
So to get like a buzz on my wrist to say set off now.
Yeah.
Eat now.
Yeah.
Oh, that deadline's coming up now. It's like, oh yeah, I don't even have to go onto my schedule. My schedule comes to me.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get a little bedside table charger. Like a little charger for my
I think
Watch.
Apple have just brought out with iOS 17 where you can rotate your phone and it becomes a digital clock, so you can buy the new elevated charger thing.
What, you can put your Apple Watch on it?
I think so. I'm not sure. Maybe you can put your Apple Watch on the base. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that, but I just know the phone one looks cool. I don't know whether I want my phone to be my alarm clock.
No.
I bought an analog alarm clock to stop my phone from being my alarm clock.
Yeah.
And now they're like, if you rotate your phone,
it's turning your phone. It's turning your phone into like a Google Home or an Alexa.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't want my phone next to me because I'm trying to really avoid picking up my phone first thing in the morning because I just don't want to be doing that. That's not what I want to be doing. Like I want to get sunlight straight away.
Does it not change it though? Like when you rotate it and it becomes like an alarm clock.
Yeah, it comes into night mode, but you're still, to turn it off, you're then touching your phone. And the minute you touch your phone and pick it up, it's then the case of, like you're looking at your notifications, you got some text messages, you've got emails, you go on Instagram, and then you're in a hole. And that's the worst thing your brain can get first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Like the worst. The Apple Watch has alarms. Is it haptic alarms where it vibrates?
Well, both, it has sound as well.
I'm tempted to give that a go.
Are you getting the Series 8?
The new SE, not the Series 8.
Okay, it'll still be better than mine. Mine's the Series 4. I've had mine for 4 years.
Yeah. So. But because I kind of want to track my sleep as well. Just to try that and see how it is. So maybe I'll use my Apple Watch as an alarm and not even have my phone in the room. Like
yeah.
We shall see. But anyway, yeah, new MacBook ordered. Excited to pick it up. Get a little Apple Watch as well. But now it's going to be in terms of on the editing front. Like I've got some stuff that I'm trying to edit for Puma at the moment, and this was the final straw. It was just like trying to like retouch some stuff, change some stuff. I was adding masks on in Lightroom, and it would just like wheel of death, crash. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I've got 2 more big shoots coming up. Oh, I haven't told you about them. Oh.
Wait, you need you need to speak to your accountant first before you start getting more projects.
They haven't happened yet, but they're booked in. So like, they're like confirmed, but they're happening next week.
Okay, God.
Yeah, two more. I'm doing a shoot with 2 big football clubs, Premier League teams.
Oh,
yeah.
United?
That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay. Probably the
until
shit
it
teams,
happens. Yeah,
Liverpool and City.
Until it happens, I won't speak about it. But
okay.
So yeah, basically I was thinking about future jobs, and I was like, I need a better Mac like to get around this editing stuff. So I pulled the trigger. I knew I needed to do it. It's like everything's just come at once. Like I needed a new camera. I needed a new laptop, and I knew they were going to happen around a similar time.
Yeah, you needed a new watch as well.
I didn't need a new watch, but just little treat to myself.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Okay, let's get back onto the topic at hand.
So that was our little interlude.
Yeah, a little interlude there, a little intro, see how we are. But credit. Now, how important, firstly, do you...
Well, before we get into it, I want to talk about why we're talking about giving credit. And it was because I recently posted... We did a shoot for Universal Music and Mercury Studios, and if you go on my Instagram, you can see that we did a shoot with David Kushner. It's like someone performing on a boat, going through...
It's very nice, by the way, I have to say. It's clean.
Man. Thank you, man.
Locked off.
I love them. They're so good.
Yeah, they're sick.
But without getting into too many details, basically, posted it up, and I posted it and with the intention to edit... Like, I tagged the crew, but I posted it with intention to add... everyone in the captions after, because I didn't know all the crew members. So I was like, oh, and as soon as I posted it, I had the director and producer Jeter message me a bit of a laugh and just be like, what's the credit? And he's like, I'm going to put it, don't worry. And that brought up the really interesting topic.
Sorry, what was that impression?
You know what? Jeter's listening to this podcast as well. She's gonna.
Can we have a social cut down of that? Whatever that was, that little outburst. Because that's that.
No. But it brought up a really good topic of basically how important it is to give credit, but then also how to give credit. Like tagging people in the tag section isn't enough. You need to also tag in the caption with like which position everybody is, and also there's a little bit of a thing in the industry where if you don't tag people, and credit them for like specific areas of a certain project, then you kind of get known in the community like of those people in that network that this guy doesn't credit.
100%. Especially when
it's a bit of a thing.
Especially when you know what goes into a massive production, right?
Yeah.
So you know what goes into like a huge shoot and the team and the army it takes. So for then when someone posts that and it's like, well, who was the stylist? Who was the set design? Like, who was the creative director? Like, all of these things. It's like, well, you just didn't do that on your own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I completely agree. Like, when someone's posting it and they're not showing, like, who their assistants were and who, especially when it's a big project, then it's like, come on.
Yeah, well, I think as well, just because in the creative industry, a lot of people get work for those specific positions in terms of if it's a DOP.
Yeah.
Then you want to be seen as the DOP on this project. You don't want to be, I worked on that project. You want to be, I DOP'd that project, or you cam opped it, or sound operated it, or and so you're kind of hurting the people you work with if you don't give credit to
100%
on a project.
So like what? Yeah. So why do you think giving credit is so important? You kind of touched on it then. It gives work to other people. You're allowing others to see who that DOP was or who that stylist was, or...
Well, I think what you said, though, is like a lot goes into it. And so when someone just gets grouped in with everybody else, it's like, I worked on that as well.
Yeah.
And I worked on that. It's kind of like, well, the position is important because the director obviously carries the vision. Yeah. It's like a little bit more in charge of like everything.
Yeah.
And the DOP obviously has a very big hand in like how the image looks and the grade maybe. Well, the director and the DOP kind of work on the grade, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compared to, say like, not in a bad way, but say like if you're, like, I don't know, well actually no, there's no position on, every position is as important as each other, but there's just I don't know, you want the credit, right? You want to...
Yeah.
It's like, it's like integrity to your crew.
Especially if you're proud of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also, you know, so I've seen it many times, and it seems to happen mostly in the music world, in my experience. But like music artists that will be posting the photos or that have been taken of them and not crediting. And I know there was a photographer who has sued now Dua Lipa twice, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, and now Miley Cyrus for copyright infringement because they have all posted his images and not like credited him on social media.
And social media is such a tricky one.
And it's all gone to court and has settled. So I think like they've settled with him and he's got a fee from each of these people, which is just nuts. And like to see that now happening more and more often, I do see lots of music artists credit, but it tends to be the people that they've built a relationship with. So if you're on tour with an artist, then they're always going to credit. You notice like Ed Sheeran or Lewis Capaldi or like those kind of people, every single time they're on tour and they post a photo, they're in the credit. Justin Bieber's now really good at it. Like Rory Kramer, his like videographer and photographer, every single time in the caption he's crediting Rory.
Well, yeah, but to be honest, I kind of understand it from the viewpoint of like a really famous A-lister. Because imagine there's like a paparazzi picture or a picture that's been taken of you and you're like, this is sick, I'm going to post this.
Yeah.
You're not... Like, there's millions of pictures that get taken of you.
Yeah.
Unless it's something very creative and very specific.
But like, you could argue that photo or video that they post without giving credit to the artist, you know, every time one of these massive people posts on social media, right? Say Justin Bieber posts on social media, the engagement it gets and the influx of people to his music, to his like videos, to everything just spikes.
Yeah.
Massively. So like, I think this photographer that sued was saying that when Miley Cyrus posted, like the influx of people that would have gone and then streamed her music after seeing this photo or whatever, like that's monetary value. That's got monetary value. That's like worth something. So he should be paid something.
Yeah.
Because she's using his image to make money, even though it's indirectly making money.
Yeah. Well, as well, when you say that, it makes me think, but I could have posted any image and it would have done the same thing. But the point is that no, but you posted my image. Yeah. So it's like you could have posted anybody's, but then you would have probably had to compensate them.
So UK copyright law states that if you're the person pointing the camera and pulling the trigger and firing the shot, then you are the owner of that image. Yeah. You're the owner, unless obviously you've got a contract, and we'll get into like, I know we've touched on contracts before, but in terms of giving credit, unless you've got a contract that states otherwise, like you own that image and therefore you have the right to tell them to take it down or them not to post it if they're not giving you credit.
Yeah.
You're kind of in control of that image after it's been taken.
And I think as well, as you said, like a contract that states otherwise. So if you don't have a contract, then the imagery just immediately defaults to your ownership.
It does, yeah.
Because you took it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we spoke about this outside as well. At least in my experience, not to that level where people are posting my work, but there is where you'll do a project for a client, and obviously this is years ago, so old news, but you would do a project for a client and they would think that they're paying for like all the footage as well, and then they'll get the final video and then they'll say, can you upload all the footage and thing, and it's like, oh no, you actually just get the finished video. That's what the deliverable is, and it's in the contract and they know that, but they think that because they're paying you to film, that they also have access to all of the content as well, and that's just not how it works. So that's kind of, I would say, where a lot of it comes from on the video side. Besides like usage and all that stuff, I think a lot of people mainly run into when clients want the raw footage and they haven't paid for it and it wasn't brought up or mentioned at the beginning. And
well, this just needs to be finalized in a contract, doesn't it? But like, so if you can, so say I do a shoot for like a big brand and they post my work, like I don't expect them to give me credit, because if it's a commercial shoot, like they're paying for the rights of the image, they can then do what they want with it when they've got the final deliverables. They don't have to credit me in the caption.
Yeah, well, it's part of the deliverables. It's like, I'm delivering.
It's the service I've provided.
Did they only get, so the images that they get in the end, that you send them, coloured and completed or whatever, retouched, do they only have access to those images? They don't get the raw files of like your original shots, or
so they get access to the raw files if it's been agreed, and usually they do to make selects.
Yeah, so they can see them to make selects, but imagine like at the end they still want all of the raw files as well as the finished digital.
And you have to pay more for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But by default, if it wasn't discussed,
I would get the raw files. No, I'd send them the raw files on a contact sheet, low res.
Yeah.
And
make
then,
selects and then
make selects and then they get the high res end files.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of similar. Like what I've heard a lot of people say is it's kind of like buying a meal at a restaurant. Like when you pay for a meal at a restaurant, you get the finished meal. You don't get like the block of cheese that they use to do it, and you don't get like all the ingredients. You just get the finished thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Kind of puts everything into perspective when
you say it like that. Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think people just don't think about it and then they expect it.
Yeah.
And obviously it's probably our fault.
But yeah, I think credit's important in a sense, though. I feel like, especially when you're coming up as a photographer and say you're posting, especially if someone famous posts your work or like a big music artist and stuff and you don't get credit, it's like, it's nice in a way because you know your work's good enough. And the fact that some music artist or this person is posting your work because they love it, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it feels great. But at the same time, you want opportunity to come to you, and crediting work is a way for that to happen. So if I work with an athlete and they credit my work, but that athlete is sponsored by Nike, then therefore all the people that work at Nike that are following that athlete can be like, oh, this photo was taken by X person, click on the profile, and then, do you know what I mean? You're exposing yourself massively. If I shot a big time footballer, he posted my image, but then credited me in the caption, and it just so happened that someone from a sports brand follows that athlete, clicked on it and was like, oh, this photo is really cool. I wonder who took that. Clicks on my page. Then all it takes is a follow and a conversation start before you're then shooting a campaign for that sports brand.
Yeah, but not only straight away. Like, it could be they posted this picture months ago.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And someone just happens to find it months later. So it's like the longevity of it as well.
It is. And that to me is why credit's important, because it gives the opportunity for people to get new work.
Yeah.
And that pro footballer that's posting my work might not make that connection. They might not think that. Do you know what I mean? Like, they might not think, oh, like, I better post his name in the caption because it could really help him in his career.
Yeah.
And if they realize how much it could help, they probably would just do it. But I don't think they do it.
I think that happens a lot though, right?
Where
people, a lot of times, at least what I see, if you scroll on Instagram and you always see stuff like where someone shared like a meme or something, and the creator always is like, credit please.
Yeah.
And so I think people just post they don't have the intention not to credit, they just don't. And then when it gets brought up, they're like, oh, sorry about that. Like, yeah, of course, like, here you go.
That's always been my experience in the music world. It's like, I know, and like music artists that I'm like friendly with, like, they would post without crediting me. And they'd be like, oh, like, sorry, I just forgot. Like, I completely forgot. And sometimes they do. And they're the times that I know they remember.
Yeah.
But sometimes they just completely forget. And it's like, you don't realize what you could be doing for that artist's or that creative's career when you do give credit.
Do you think it... Sorry. I was
going to say, completely fair if you've agreed otherwise to not give credit. And that's part of like the deal.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a nice thing to do that this person has taken their time to, create something for you, has used their creative brain. Has used their creative brain, been an artist, they've created something really cool, and they've given you a finished product and you love it as well. So if you're then to share it with the world, like, the least you can do, if it's like negotiated, is credit that artist, because you don't know what it could do for their career.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think as well it kind of factors in where the person posting, say like if they're a famous person, to themselves, they're just a normal person? So even though they're famous and they're all these things, they maybe don't think like giving credit is a big deal because they just see themselves as I'm just like, I'm not like...
Well, they think that
they're not aware of how much influence they actually have, because it's just, they're still human at the end of the day. So they're like, well...
I think they're very aware of how much influence they have.
Yeah, I feel like I'm making excuses.
Yeah. I feel like they're very aware of how much influence they have.
Unless it's like an up-and-coming artist, I don't think you know, someone who's quite humble and they're just like, oh, like they still just treat their Instagram or the social media as.
Well, I just think artists should respect artists, and you know what goes into your craft to get you how good you are, and it's the same if you're like an athlete, a musician, like whatever world you're in, like you know, like the credit, or no, you know the hard work that's gone into that. So I think it's just respecting another artist to be like, because I know how important it is to me. So if I create a project, I know like how important it is to credit those people that are involved in that project because you get it. Do you know what I mean? You understand how much work goes into it and how important that like credit is. So
well, with an A-lister though, there's so many like people that are in between all that posting. It's like, you know,
which makes it harder for them. 100%. Yeah. Because like without realizing, they're like social media manager or their PA or someone has like posted for them and said post this, say this, without giving credit, and like that A-lister might not even know whose work this is. They've just been given a photo. Yeah.
Also, how are you viewing it in terms of? I understand it a lot more if it's a project and it's a specific like campaign and you've not given credit because it's like, bro, this is like a legit project that we worked on. Yeah. But if it's just someone like stealing your image, for example, and uploading it and not giving you credit, then it's kind of, or maybe maybe it's an older photo from like a year or two ago and they just still have it and they end up posting it now. Obviously, there's been some time. So
same rules apply.
No, same rules apply to that, but I think there's a little bit more of leeway with understanding because it's like, well, it wasn't a proper campaign. It's just you've seen this image that I took of you, maybe like paparazzi, I don't know, and you've posted it just because you like it and you didn't think too much of it, compared to if we did like a specific campaign,
you know, you see the work that's gone into it,
and all that, and then it's like you didn't like, you know. I think I don't know, but I also want to take it over to. I've just forgot. It's just blanked.
What do you want to take it over to?
Let me think for 10 seconds.
Okay, you do that. I'm gonna have some.
Don't talk. Don't shut up.
All right.
It's there. It's at the tip of my tongue. Matt, you might need to take. You might need to take over this for a sec whilst that.
Okay, you ponder on it.
Ponder
on it. Well, what I was going to say is I feel like it's much more fleeting.
I just remembered.
Okay. Carry on.
So from my side, I don't really deal too much with this. I think it's more of a photography because social media is primarily more imagery, unless it's reels. But who's going to steal a reel usually? You know, unless it's TikTok. But I think for me, I used to always deal with like people stealing my YouTube videos. However, there's like two perspectives you can take from it, which is if someone's stealing your work or uploading and not giving you credit, regardless of whether they're giving credit or not, the fact that they're stealing your work means like you're doing obviously you're doing something that other people want.
Yeah.
And is it worth wasting your time trying to get them to give credit when you can just continue making work? Because I heard this from Gary Vee actually, where obviously loads of people steal Gary Vee's shit and, you know, repurpose it and repost it onto their own pages. Some people have motivation Instagrams that they get paid on where they just post like
recycle content.
Gary Vee and Joe Rogan and all that shit. And so what is the line in terms of should you be bothered about it as much? Should you not? Again, obviously, if it's an A-list celebrity, I think that's pretty obvious.
Well,
but again, like, so you talk about, say, your sports, and if someone reposted your thing and they were just like a normal person and they didn't give credit, I wouldn't be bothered. If you're primarily in sports and someone who wasn't in sports posted it and it just because they liked it, then I don't think I'd be too bothered about credit. But if someone in the industry that I work in posted it in the direction that I wanted to go, and that's probably an opportunity for me to go that way.
What's opportunity cost?
Yeah, but the opportunity, there is no opportunity from someone who isn't even.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's like knowing that they could post that and bring you a career-changing job, or make a career-changing just by tagging you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's still, if anyone reposts it, they still should credit by like letter of the law, like just general courtesy and like kindness, like give credit to people. But it then becomes more difficult. But there's people like I said, there's music artists and stuff that have posted my work and not credited me. Have I chased them to be like, oh, this needs crediting? No.
Yeah.
I haven't. Like, it's weighing up like, do
you even want to do music projects?
It's like, can I be bothered to do that? Like, do I want to try and go back and forth with them? Then I'm like, does it look a bit desperate? Like, I don't know. It's all these things that kind of run through your mind. And it's like, am I that fussed about it? Like, you know, it depends what path you're going on and what you're trying to do and who it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Drake was posting one of my photos, I'd be like...
Mate, I'd fly to LA and be like, yo,
he doesn't live
credit me, bro.
He doesn't live in LA.
Well, sorry, I'm not a Drake follower. Where does he live?
I don't know. Actually, he's probably got a house in LA.
He's probably got a house in every country, mate. Yeah.
But yeah, so... But I feel like that no matter who it is, nothing should change, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's important to credit. And, you know, all these big productions like movies and stuff, like the credits after, people get credited. Like, they deserve to be credited. And
by the way, the credits are like 15 minutes long.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people.
Yeah. And magazine shoots and, like, if you look in magazines, the credit for the names and the photos are always in the magazines.
Yeah.
Who shot the cover, like all that kind of stuff.
Honest, I do see some, like, you know, when GQ posts pictures and cover pictures and all that, and I'm pretty sure the credit for the photographer is in the caption.
It's always in the caption.
Yeah.
They never don't.
Yeah. Oh, one of the tube lights just went out.
It's fine. It's a nice gradient effect now. But that's what I mean about...
My eyes feel so weird looking at you now because of that.
Why? But that's what I mean about big brands like that. They know how... People like GQ, they know how important it is and how much of a team effort it takes for the cover photographer and like the artist and the styling and like all these things play a massive part. But like a celebrity or an athlete or a musician or whoever it is might not realize it, you know?
Yeah.
But they tend to do it on big shoots. So I've noticed music artists and celebrities and big names, they do a cover shoot, they're posting the entire team. Because it's a bigger production.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, I think for an artist, they just, off the cuff, they're like, oh, this photo was taken just like against a wall. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, really off the cuff. So they're much more relaxed about crediting. Whereas if they know it was like a proper big thing, then, you know?
I'm trying to think. Do you know what? I think I just had a bit of a flashback of when I didn't get credited on something.
Yeah.
Or if someone just forgets to they put everyone else and then they forget you.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that?
No.
Obviously, you're not working in big enough productions, mate. No.
It's not a nice feeling, though.
Yeah, like I think you feel insignificant, whereas everyone on set is significant as each other to some extent.
Yeah.
Like the whole operation works because we're all
working together.
Like, you know, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. And
yeah.
Do you think giving credit has changed much over the last like 5-10 years? Because it's changed so much with social media. I think I imagine, obviously I don't think I've been in the industry long enough, but I imagine before social media, credit was always given because it was just print. So if it was just magazines and just like like TV commercials, they're not crediting the fucking videographer and DOP and everything afterwards.
Yeah.
But they're buying the rights to not do that. They own the video.
Well, not only that though, but when it is print, there's people that handle that sort of stuff that are professionals that understand that. Yeah, whereas as soon as social media comes out, the artists themselves
good point
is now giving credit. And they aren't social media like trained in you know, any of like the PR professional side of it all. Yeah. And so, and also they might not even think it's a big deal. As you mentioned earlier. So yeah, that can be really weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think credit is important, Matt. It's very important.
It is very important.
But I don't think... actually, what do you think the difference is between video and photo credit?
Well...
Because you think that video is a lot more straightforward to give credit. Because obviously a video project just naturally entails more people. Whereas a photographer...
I'm trying to think of that. So say you've got that person that's a one-man band. Run and gun video, and you've got the same person that's a run and gun photographer.
Yeah.
Like, you could argue that both of them should receive credit. But what I was saying is that it's really easy for someone to just quickly, like, post up a photo online, like, really fast. Whereas I feel like a video takes a bit more thought, and a video is usually much more deliberate if it's been made by a professional. So I just think that it's easier to credit a video production because of how many more components it has to it. Usually, unless it's a one-man band or a one-woman band. Like it depends. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think so, yeah.
Like when you do just like a usual video shoot, like it's usually a few people. Well, in our industry, that you've got like a soundy, you've got a DOP, you've got a director, you've then usually got like hair, makeup, styling, whatever.
There's just usually more stuff for the most basic set,
and it's
like,
usually more time
audio
consuming.
And all that shit,
yeah, so like, and it's usually like 2, 3, 4 hour shoot. Whereas I could go in and photograph a celebrity and be done in 10 minutes, and to them it just feels less significant and less of a big production.
Yeah,
and then they could take the image and just post it up, but think, oh, like that literally happened in a 10-second instance. So therefore, like, it's not that big a deal. Like, I don't need to give credit.
Okay, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can see that, because also, especially again, if they're an A-lister, it's how many things are they doing that day?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I suppose from one creative to another, how would creatives give credit in terms of?
No, I think creatives know that creatives know and understand the respect, but it's like how.
Well, you think that? But
how can creatives listening and us? How can we get better at like getting or giving credit, or like what would you say to someone, like some advice in terms of like how to make sure you get credit correctly?
Well, usually, if I'm going to post something, I'll make sure to give credit about the specific positions. But if I'm not sure about the team members, I wouldn't just post it without knowing. I did this time with Jeter.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeter. No, it was fine. And I think it would be better to hold off and actually at least you reach out and you ask like who shall I credit, just so that it's a bit, you look like you've actually taken the initiative to try and give credit, even if you couldn't.
But
also what's annoying is that sometimes they don't even have social media. So it's like, what do you do then if they don't exist on Instagram?
Just
and it's like, just write their name.
Yeah. But I'm not on about that. I'm not about how you give credit. As in, how do you get credit?
So how do you get credit?
Yeah. So sure-proof ways where, like, say a creative listening can make sure they get credit from.
You send them a picture of the house in the post and you say, "You don't give me credit ever again. I know where you live."
I'm coming for you and everything you love.
Yeah, basically.
No, I think you negotiate it into your. So when you're, this is what I would say.
I like how you just asked me the question, but now you're answering.
Okay, you go.
No, it's okay. Go on.
I was going to say you negotiate into your contract.
Yeah.
So
these things need to be upfront as well.
Yeah,
they can't be left to chance. It's similar to any other deliverable. It's like it's like usage rights.
Yeah,
you need to give credit. Like it falls into the same. It just falls into the same thing.
But even if you haven't got a contract, you just say and make sure it's in writing, like on email or whatever beforehand, and just be like, look, like, can I make sure I get credit on these images for when they are posted?
Yeah,
and the person says yes. And then if they post them and don't credit them, you can come back and be like, highlight, hello, like you said this, and then they should change it. If they say no, then you say, give me more money. Or you go back and forth with them and figure out a solution.
Well, what I like to do as well is say it's similar to like the usage rights where you don't have the full licensing for footage. It's you need to kind of cover all bases for you to have the licensing.
Yeah.
It's not you can just do 3 of them and then miss this one thing out. It's you need to do all of them. And then it's like, okay, you're fine to use it or whatever.
Yeah. No, 100%. And like, if a big artist has posted your photo and hasn't credited you, drop a comment on it. Just be like, hey, I took this photo. Could you please credit me? Or send them a message. Hey, this is my image. Do you mind crediting me? Thank you so much. Like, do you know what I mean? So just don't be afraid to just like speak to them, I would say, and just like put yourself out there. Drop a comment below. Just so other people can see it. If they're not going to credit you, you might as well say something below and be like, "This, I took this photograph," so other people can see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the worst in that? It's your image. If you're proud of it and it's your work, then
I feel like it should almost be common sense for other creatives to know to give credit because that's how obviously you would want your work to be shared.
But everyone doesn't think like us, and this is the thing.
Well, this is why you listen to this podcast.
This is why you listen to this episode. Yeah.
Just wait for Matt to have a drink.
Yeah, I'm just drinking my Sam Pelly. Okay.
I'm a bit more polite. I have my drink at the end.
Well, mate, I need to keep talking.
If ever.
So
I need to keep talking.
Yeah.
I'm talking. I'm fine.
Anything else you want to touch on credit?
To be honest, I don't think it's that complicated.
It's not.
I think
It's
we don't
pretty
need to drag
clear
it
cut.
out.
Yeah, it's pretty clear cut.
But I do think even people that are experienced in the industry might do it every now and again.
Yeah.
Again, from my experience and what happened recently, again, it's not a big deal, but I always post credit and I always make sure to do it if you go back on my other post. But this one I posted first and just thought, I'll get the credit later. Yeah. So I tagged the people that I already knew were on it because I was basically there. And then other people that I wasn't aware of the names or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Noted.
Yeah.
Noted. Sweet.
It's like integrity, right? It's like integrity to your crew. It's integrity to your network and the people you work with. And you almost have a responsibility in the creative industry to hold those things high. Your values, right?
Amen.
Yeah. Amen.
Sweet. Right, should we wrap it there?
Yeah, we can wrap it. I also forgot to mention we're filming on one camera today. So even though the YouTube people listening won't see, but on YouTube, we forgot one of the base plates for the tripod. And so
you forgot one of the base plates. It's nothing to do with me.
Okay, well, sorry.
Take responsibility. Actually, where is your integrity?
If you was a proper photographer with an actual tripod, you would have your own base plate that you would bring with you.
Why? We don't need a tripod.
Everyone needs a tripod, mate.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to sign it off, Matt?
Yeah. So thanks so much for listening, guys. We hope you enjoy your Monday or whenever you're listening to this. It's Monday for us.
Yeah, it's Monday.
It's the start of a long week, but we'll make it through.
Yeah, it's raining today.
It is raining today. Also, what's been with the weather? On a side note, the weather has been so bad. Mate, it's the 1st of August tomorrow, and it's like rain pretty much every day for like the last 2 weeks.
I don't think the weather's been bad, but when it's rained all day. Like there's not been...
Mate, the weather has been bad. What are you on about? It was the
fine.
end of July, the start of August, and it's like 20 degrees. It's not even hot. It's not sunny.
Oh, well, it's decent. I think it's warm enough to be like, I'm happy with this. It's fine.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, Matt's the kind of person that sits outside in his garden to do his work so he gets a tan whilst he's working.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that will sit inside to avoid the sun and work in nice, cool temperatures.
That's why you're pasty.
Yeah.
AF.
That's why I'm brighter on camera and Matt's.
Yeah, camera's basically a reflector.
Oh my God. Yeah. And Matt's the gold reflector. Is there a name for that?
No.
Because you get the gold.
It's gold reflector.
Just gold. Okay, right. So.
Anywho, thanks for listening, guys. We hope you have a great week. Do the usual. Give us a like. Review us on the Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a cheeky 5 stars. That'd be much appreciated.
Yep.
And drop us a message on Instagram if you've got any feedback. Let us know what you want to hear. And we'll see you in the next episode. Much love.
See you later, guys.